Lindsay Parker here at Licorice Pizza Records. It's LPTV, LP squared, and today history or herstory is being made. I'm here with the sweethearts of the rodeo themselves, the Midnight Cowgirls, the superest of supergroups, and if I'm not mistaken, the performance that we were just watching your sound check, the performance that you're doing today right here at Licorice Pizza is your first public performance, and this is your first on-camera interview.
You are absolutely correct, and we are over the moon about this.
As am I. So for people watching who don't know about you guys, I'm going to kind of get into your history, your herstory, and how you guys met and stuff. But why don't y'all introduce yourselves by name, what you do in this band, and also some of the other bands or projects that people might know you from. Because like I said, you are a supergroup.
That is true. My name is Kandle Osborne. I'm a singer and a guitar player, a songwriter. I'm from Canada, and I've mostly had a Canadian career until Jennie found me and brought me over here.
Canada represent. You're Canadian
I
as well?
did indeed. I am Canadian myself and been following Kandle for some time in her career, and we did talk about having a supergroup, but most people would know me from Eagles of Death Metal. I'm the bass player. I also played with Courtney Love, and I have my own solo music, Jennie Vee, so I'm a songwriter as well.
Awesome.
Should I hold it? Okay. I'm Leah. I play drums, and I also play with Jennie in Eagles of Death Metal, and it's super fun to be playing with her in this too. Yeah. Excited.
I'm Blaise Dahl, and I play keyboard, guitar, and I do a little bit of singing in this band. And Jennie and I go way back. We actually went up for the Manic Street Preachers like years ago. So yeah, that was a cool time.
We'll take that conversation offline, but I'm such a manic fan.
To be continued.
Hi, I'm Rexel. I play lead guitar. I have known Jennie for like the past 8 years. We actually met because we went on tour with an all-girl, or plus one guy, punk band called the Menstruators, and that was an interesting time. And I've played with her on her solo project, and I've played a lot of different projects as well, everything from Glare, which is like a post-punk dark wave band. I also have toured with Slim Jim Phantom as his guitar player, and yeah, excited to be here with these gals.
I'm excited to have you. So yeah, you mentioned Slim Jim Phantom. You guys are going on tour soon with the Stray Cats, but this is your first public performance. And it's interesting hearing you talk about all the different projects you've been in, and like maybe people wouldn't expect you to be doing this kind of music. So what made you gravitate towards, I'll let you guys describe the music, but obviously it harkens back to a sort of golden age of country and folk and Americana.
Yeah, a lot of it started with really Jennie, who is also a designer, created a Midnight Cowgirl jumpsuit, and her fashion brand was leaning more towards Western and country looks, which we were all just drooling over. And she hit me up one day and said, let's do this girl band. Let's call it the Midnight Cowgirls. There's a market for country. We're rock and roll. We're different. We have a new sound. Come over and write songs. So I flew out and met her for the first time in January, and we wrote the first record.
This January we just had.
Yes.
For people watching this, we're in July.
Yes.
So this was only 6 months ago this all
We
started.
move fast.
Yeah.
Apparently.
We feel like soulmates now, but we only met in January.
Right.
Wait, you two only met in January?
Yeah.
Was it like an instant thing?
Yes.
I can see it.
Yeah, we complete each other's sentences now. We're that kind of annoying, but yeah.
And you complete each other's looks too. I mean,
That's
we do have
Jennie.
to talk about the fashion. I know you and I both follow Western Goths on Instagram, and the fashion, like, I mean, you made all this yourself. Like, you were literally rhinestoning this by hand,
Yes,
right?
by hand. Hundreds of hours have gone into these clothes, Lindsay. And I've always made my own clothes since I was a kid. My grandfather was a tailor, a Croatian immigrant, and my mom's an amazing sewer. So anytime I wanted something that I couldn't find, we would just make it. And a big music fan from the time I was little. So all throughout my career, I've made my stage looks. And for at least 6 or 7 years now, I've really been inspired by Western fashion, American ranch wear, Patsy Cline, Elvis Presley, Wanda Jackson, all of the originals, and rockabilly, rock and roll, country, Western blues. It's like an American art form. So I'm inspired by all of it. And this is kind of a blender of that.
When did you get into that? Because I know you have a background. I mean, we've talked about this before. We're goths, basically. We grew up loving The Cure and bands like that. And then, you know, there is a thread, no pun intended, a thread that really wasn't intended.
Right.
A thread through it all.
Yeah.
But how did you gravitate towards not just that look, but the sound?
Well, I was always used to wearing a big black hat, so there's that, you know. I mean, not even kidding. This was something, a staple piece of my wardrobe since I was a young teenager, was a big black hat. there's just a fine line between, Johnny Cash, the Man in Black. He's a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, a little bit goth.
I mean, Trent Reznor covered him.
Exactly.
true.
Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode. It's got a little Western twang to
So
it.
good.
Yeah, I staying stuck kind of in one genre is boring to me. I've always been into it. Buddy Holly was my first favorite, so that's rockabilly, origins of rock and roll, and again, that the line gets even finer when you're looking at rockabilly and country.
So let's talk about the fact that none of you want to stay in one single genre. Like, it's such a cliche question, but what are the influences on the Midnight Cowgirls? You mentioned some of the fashion influences, but musically as well.
I think it's why we have a really unique sound is that we all do come from a very rock and roll background, just, like we were discussing, The Cure, Depeche Mode, everything. But growing up, like Buddy Holly, Elvis, the Beatles, like all of that is in our blood and in our upbringing. And it's so influential to everything we've ever written and everything we've ever played. So it was kind of just a very natural thing to do. Like writing country songs is like something we've never done, but something that came very naturally to us and really fun. And it's just like good music is good music. I love writing in different genres, and I love like pushing the boundaries and seeing how different we can be and the different songs that we come up with. And it's exciting, and it's always fun to do something new,
I feel like country music in general is changing. Like Beyonce released a country record this year. Orville Peck is one of my,
Yeah.
and he's very gothic actually.
best.
Yeah.
He's so great. Like, do you have any thoughts about how people might think country's a certain thing, or it used to be a certain thing? But I do feel it has changed, and you're maybe part of that.
Maybe Blaise has some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that as somebody also who kind of came to this a little bit later on in the project, and I grew up on a lot of Southern rock. My dad was like a huge Allman Brothers fan, and would go to the Jones Beach every year to see that. So it's kind of like almost what Kandle said before, where you grow up with these things, and they kind of like are inklings in the back of your head, and you see somebody else doing something, and you kind of take that influence and then move there, and then find a way to say, how can I also mix this with the synth and the reverby guitar that I've always loved, but if I got a little bit more of a rasp and a twang in my voice, how can I bring that too? And I think all of those artists kind of do that. I mean, like Orville Peck, Kandle and I were just having this conversation, like came from a metal background, like just complete opposite of what you expect. So sometimes like just digging a little bit deeper and going through your background and seeing what's actually in you that maybe isn't exactly obvious at first.
And I have to point out that Leah is she's from Georgia, the state of Georgia.
Yes, I am.
Okay, well,
So
let's
that's
talk
already
about what you
in
grew
your
up
heart.
listening to.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun to, play some country, because back in Georgia, like, I've been playing a lot of rock and roll in my career. And country, I feel like it's still rock and roll. It's just like a little twangier. It's just rock and roll with different words, a little twangy.
What are some of the female, you mentioned Patsy Cline, what are some of the female country artists in particular, like the old school, like do you like Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, all that sort of stuff?
Both of those ladies, I love Emmylou Harris. I love Patsy Cline, as I already mentioned.
Wanda Jackson.
Wanda Jackson.
There you go.
And she might not be country, but she's definitely an influence. Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Bonnie Raitt too.
Yeah. That's a
Good one for me.
So I was looking at the track listing for the Midnight Cowgirls EP, which, by the way, obviously is available at Licorice Pizza Records on pink vinyl, which I'm very happy about. I do obviously love the color pink. And I was looking, I haven't had a chance to listen to it all yet because it's coming out just this week. Is the Queen of Hearts, is that the Juice Newton cover?
It's the Dave Edmunds version.
Oh, ooh, tell me about that.
The Dave Edmunds version. I like the swing he gives it. He is not, I would say, maybe he's best known for producing the Stray Cats. He produced their first music when they moved over to London, and yeah, I'm a really big fan of his. So there is a Juice Newton version. Oh gosh, but neither of them wrote it.
I know I looked up the writer the other day and I immediately forgot who it was.
Right.
But yeah, neither of them might have wrote it.
We'll fix that in post. Edit that in. I was not aware. I don't know much. I love the song, but I was not aware that Dave Edmunds ever did his cover come out before her? Like, did his version come out
Oh goodness, my husband's off camera, honey. Did Dave Edmunds' version come out before? Around the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Version that kind of
Oh wow.
nullify each other.
Yeah. We have Slim Jim Phantom rock and roll encyclopedia here on hand today.
Yeah.
He's a happy guy to. He's a good guy to consult when you need. He's like a human Wikipedia of rock and roll. So the EP is out this week, and like I said, it's on pink vinyl and it's on Licorice Pizza Records. And you were talking about how everything came together so quickly since January, and I feel like the whole thing with Licorice Pizza came together very quickly, doesn't it? It's only been it kind of goes back to the Licorice Pizza All-Star Band trip in Hawaii at the Sunflower Farm Music Festival. Can you tell like how the ball got rolling in that way?
Well, there have been rumblings about my band for a few months. Our band just dropping hints about it and starting an Instagram, and we hadn't put out any music. I feel like it was my intention kind of to drum up some interest first and put out an aesthetic and a vibe, and kind of an announcement that this was in the works and that this was happening. And we had been writing for months already. In May, when we went to Maui, I had something to speak about. You know, we had been building this, even just amongst ourselves. The energy was there. This was happening. And it got mentioned briefly in Maui, but it wasn't until we got back from Maui that I said to Carrie, let's talk about this. And I let him know a little bit more about what we were up to and the songs we had written and demoed and recorded, and I was able to share that with him. And then from there, it was just a match made in heaven, just like us.
Like literally this was 2 months ago.
Yeah, 2 months ago. I think it was probably the quickest turnaround time on vinyl pressing ever in the history of vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
I was under the impression, Carrie would probably know more about this, but isn't there like a great vinyl shortage happening now? Because like Taylor Swift or someone like used all the vinyl or something?
Yep.
So how did you manage to turn it around so fast and get it on pink as well?
In-house. Licorice Pizza pressed the record. We
Where
are
there's a
very,
will.
very lucky. It wouldn't be possible otherwise.
So tell me about the recording, because it's interesting that it happened so fast. Because like sometimes, I mean, I'm not a musician myself, but I can imagine like if you have too much time, you might overthink something, overproduce it, over whatever it. So doing it so immediately, what was the benefit of that?
Well, you're right. We didn't have a lot of time to overthink, and we were mostly recording in different places, living in different cities in different countries. So whoever would start the demo of a song, we would build off that. I would do vocals in Montreal, and the girls would do like bass and drums here at Licorice Pizza, and then Rex would do some stuff in San Diego. We were just all over the place, sending each other files and stems, and then got it all put together here in one gigantic Pro Tools folder. And
How many times have you played live? Obviously, publicly, this will be the first time you're performing live, and I was watching your sound check, and you sounded like you've been playing for a long time, but like how long has it actually been?
for each of us?
I mean, just as a band,
5
a band
days.
together.
Oh, 5 days. Yeah. we started rehearsing 5 days ago. But we're all pretty much lifers, so
Yeah, you know what you guys are doing.
we
but
don't
that's
sound like a new band, which is very nice.
and you're about to go on this big tour in like from the time this is being filmed, like in 2 or 3 days from now. I mean, that's a lot of faith and confidence to be like to book a tour and to book a thing like this and put the record out when you haven't been road tested yet. Was there anyone who was like, maybe we should wait, or?
No, honestly, no.
Why wait for what?
I think we all started in our teens. We all are credible in our own rights, and coming together was, a very obvious like super group to us all. We're like, wow, we're tight. Within the first day of rehearsals, we were like, yep, that sounds good.
What other super groups do you model yourself after? What are some of your favorite super groups? Mine's Tinted Windows, by the way.
The Spice Girls.
They are super groups.
Traveling Wilburys.
Good answer.
Probably Rush, I would say.
Yep.
Man, you took the Spice Girls. That was gonna be mine.
You can both answer.
You know what? I'll go with them Crooked Vultures. Yeah. I'll go with that.
Man, I am kind of stumped now. You guys kind of took a. I don't know. I don't know.
If you had a dream supergroup, who would be in it?
Oh
Good
man,
question.
it's like add Prince and Trent Reznor and add. Let's see, vocally. Yeah. something along the lines, a little bit of Zeppelin in there too. With
Oh,
so,
put
I
your
don't know,
image in.
yeah, right.
There you go.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys obviously, like I introduced you as a supergroup, and you were talking about starting in your teens. I suppose you get asked this a lot, but as women starting out, like, was it hard? Your lifers in the business. What was it like when you started out compared to now? In terms of any struggles you had, or any stereotypes you had to, any sexism you had to deal with, anything like that.
I noticed a huge difference now, which I love. When I started, I got my first record deal when I was 19, and I remember the first half of every review was about my looks. She walked out looking like a little blonde girl in thigh-high stockings and cat eyeliner, and like you have to skim until you get to the music. And I'm like, what's this about? And it'd be harder to get respect and harder to stand my ground in the studio, and I had a lot of very uncomfortable situations in the industry, and had a lot of kind of bad men trying to boss me around. But those days feel over, or at least mostly over, and it's so inspiring and amazing to play with all women and the men that we have in our team, and like Slim Jim working on the record with us. Like, everyone's lovely. Carrie Brown is treating us like gold. Like, we are in good hands, and I really feel like there's been a big shift since, like, at least since I first started.
I can speak to that. I think the change has been in me. I don't necessarily think that too much has changed out there, because some of my younger friends who are in bands and who are girls, they are confronted with the same things I was, and they, not that they take it, but for instance, I would get asked that question, what's it like being a girl in a band, which is my most hated question. It's so annoying. What's it like being a human? Like, what's hard about your job? There's obstacles in every day, every job, everywhere. I answered negatively. I don't want to discourage a girl from starting a band and making it sound like this terrifying arena. Right. So the change has been in me. I feel like the change has been in me.
It's an interesting point, because if whatever male-dominated profession, and if you talk about all your horror stories or whatever bad experiences, that might discourage younger women from doing that.
Exactly.
That is a good point.
Right.
Do you guys want to speak about that at all?
I think it's also great to just have the support system that is being an all-women band. I mean, obviously being in bands over the years, you've had here and there, but it's also very common to be the only woman in a band, and I can't speak enough to how positive and communicative this whole situation has been. Just one of the best experiences I've had leading up to rehearsals and being in rehearsals, just people who are on their game and know their shit. And can I curse? I don't know if I could do that.
You just did.
Okay,
I don't mind.
Sick.
But rock and roll.
Yeah, I mean, just like, fuck. Balls. All right, I'm done. But yeah, I mean, just the camaraderie is just something really that's important and is stuck out in this whole process. Awesome. Do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, no, it's been an awesome experience. I've been playing in bands for many, many years, and oftentimes I've been like the only female in the band, and I had to play the role of the female in the band, so put on a character of like, put on the outfits and whatever, and here, it's like we're putting on stage outfits, but we are still being ourselves, and these girls have been super amazing in helping, just be supportive in the whole process. I think it's been a really, really cool change in dynamics of my experience in being in bands, where it's like people, we would rehearse and then everyone just like disperses and no one wants to talk to each other and whatnot, and here it's like we actually really like each other. So
Yeah, we're like, let's go shopping, get tacos.
Yeah.
I'll go shopping and get tacos with you. I mean, I could see so many girls looking up to you and being like, you would be their Spice Girls. They'd have a favorite.
That's exactly what we hope.
We can only hope for that.
Jenny knows who's who. I forgot.
Yeah,
I'm Baby.
do you have Spice names?
Baby, Posh.
Baby, Posh, Sporty, Ginger, Scary.
Yeah, when you got the red in your hair, you gotta be Ginger, I think.
Also, she's
Ginger was my
spicy.
favorite.
Bright blonde pieces, too. I mean, like, you can definitely tell where I was in the 90s, who I was looking at.
Were you guys actually, like, when you were young, was that kind of who you looked up to? I mean,
Of course,
I don't think I
partly.
realized at the time how actually important they were. They were probably dismissed because they were a pop band, but they were actually really important.
Oh, I loved them so much.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any nice stories individually? Obviously, you're a new group, but individually about young girls who have either told you via, comments, fan letters, DMs, whatever, about how they look up to you, how it made them want to play drums or pick up a guitar or bass guitar, anything like that?
I think those comments are honestly what keeps me going in the industry, with Spotify and everything, making less and less money. It's like when you get that message from that fan being like, your song got me through the hardest time in my life, or the worst breakup, or this like crazy health scare. It's like, that's so powerful, and I really appreciate when people reach out to us to tell us these things. And already we're getting a lot of messages from girls that just love us because they love seeing what we're doing and they think it's cool and they're inspired by it, and it inspires us right back to keep going and keep working hard at it.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I love inspiring girls, but I just love inspiring people. It's cool when a girl writes to me and says that's why she bought a bass, but I feel just the same feelings when it's a guy, because a lot of parents come to see us in Eagles of Death Metal and they're like, I want my daughter to see you. And I was like, well, what's she into? Well, she's into ballet. Do you have a son? Yeah, he's a musician. So why do you want to make the girl come and see me? Like, your son could be inspired by girls too.
It's a good point. When I've interviewed the Go-Go's, they've made a big point of saying it wasn't just like little girls who looked up to them. Like Billy Joe Armstrong will say, oh, I loved you guys.
Right. Yeah, and we're not doing it for the girls. Like, we're doing it for us. Like, I'm doing this because I like to play bass. I love to play bass, and I love to play with talented people. So.
And you are doing just that. I do need to let you go because the people are starting to line up outside. We are about to actually have your live debut here at Licorice Pizza Records. What is next for you? I mentioned that the Stray Cats tour is happening in a few days. The EP is out now, but what, obviously, even though this came together quickly, it seems like it's not a short-term thing.
No, we're excited to rock this tour and debut the band to everyone possible. And Jennie and I, of course, have like a backlog of about 20 more songs. We're hoping Carrie wants to take us in the studio and finish the record and keep going. And yeah, we're feeling mighty unstoppable, I would say. We don't want to slow down.
There's a Midnight Cowgirl capsule fashion collection in the works as well.
Right.
And you know how fast we move, so we could be looking at fall. I don't know, maybe a pop-up, something here locally in beautiful Studio City, California. So stay tuned for that. But like Kandle said, full-length record, more touring, working together. Blaise is on board now, so there's 5 of us. We're all just really excited.
We needed our ginger in the group.
We
Right?
did.
Absolutely. Yeah. We all know that the Spice Girls were best when it was the original.
Correct.
five.
When she left, it was like,
So Ginger is in, and I mean, just congratulations on everything. I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so excited to see you guys play live. Herstory is going to be made here at Licorice Pizza Records today. Thanks for watching, everybody.